Big Will, look at that.
What's up, brother?
Hey,
dog.
Made it.
Zach.
Hey, so just so you know, Will, your name on Zoom is Katie, so
Oh, that's cute.
everyone's gonna be like, "Oh,
Aw.
hey, Katie."
Can we call you Katie from now on?
That's
I think
cool.
that's fitting.
Yeah, this is my first Zoom. She's in the corporate world, so she's a veteran. Yeah.
That's
Katie,
hilarious.
cute.
Zach, you I just caught the tail end of that. You all right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm sure
I
he's
passed
okay.
my COVID test. I don't have it.
Nice.
And
You got some symptoms or something?
well, no, I had like a cold. Like I would like any other year except for this year, everybody would have been like, "Oh, you just have a head cold."
Right.
But because of the current state of things, my wife is like, "You need to go get tested. We got a 5-month-old at home." So I went on base, and I happen to be on like orders, so I fall
You
under
have to
active
test.
duty rules. So like I went to the line, and they were like, "Yeah, you don't have a temperature. We're still going to test you for the flu and for COVID. We'll be able to tell you within the day about your flu, but we won't be able to tell you about COVID for 5 to 7 days."
Right.
So I was like, "Fuck." So my wife had to call the kids' school and be like, "Hey, somebody we know might have had COVID, and we just want to like be precautious," because she didn't want to tell them that like it was me, because then that a whole other thing.
It's another shitstorm.
So anyway, so my test came back today, which is a day early, which is good, and it was negative. So I just had a freaking head cold. And I didn't have the flu either, so it was just
Right.
sinus infection.
Yeah. These days, if anything starts feeling funky, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. But let me I'm gonna grab another glass of something here. I'll be right back.
Wait, what do you got?
Something.
He gone. Will, what are you drinking, sir?
Well, I got some classy Canadian action going right now.
Nice.
Oh,
I like the
nice.
Yeah.
Canadians. They do
Yeah,
Crown
man.
Royal, don't they?
Absolutely. Crown Royal.
Is that what you're
Some,
sipping on? Oh boy.
Yeah, some Canada Dry Ginger Ale. This all Canada tonight.
Are you? You're not from Canada.
No, just
Oh,
fucking around.
Georgia.
All Canada tonight, huh?
Man, I
Canada.
don't get after it as much as I used to. So the stash is kind of low. I went to grab one tonight. I'm like, shit, I got,
Oh, that'll
like-
change.
like
Your
old
kid's still-
wedding wine.
Your kid's still young. That'll change when your kid is really starting to move on you.
You know,
Yeah.
You know what?
That'll
Brandon?
definitely change. You got a boy or a girl? Well,
2 boys.
2 boys? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you'll be fine. If you had
Oh,
a teenage girl like I do, you'd be
Oh,
willing
shit.
to jump off a fucking cliff.
Brandon, he has one boy, and then he has one man child.
Did he get one?
Yeah, I got one. I hit the
Atta
lottery,
boy.
yeah.
He's gonna be an animal, huh? So he's gonna
Birthed
be
the man child, or his wife birthed the man child. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Katie.
awesome.
God bless her.
Second one is the man child?
Yeah, second one's a man child.
Okay.
He's,
I look forward to that betting on them in Vegas.
Hey, Brandon, do you know how they tell your child? Like when you go to the
Percentiles and shit.
the pediatrist, they go, your kid's in the 60th percentile,
Oh,
everything's
yeah.
healthy. They just tell Will, they're like, your kid's bigger than everybody else.
Your kid is the percentile.
Yeah, he's in the
He
0.
is the percentile.
He
He's on the other
establishes the
side.
percentile.
So, let me get this straight. So, of the 4 of us that are on this effing thing right now, I'm
You can say "fuck," Brandon. just
I'm
so
the
you know.
shortest by far, aren't
We
I?
can curse on here?
Oh, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. You're a grown man. Are you kidding me?
This is about
Oh,
losing your
fuck.
job. This whole podcast is about losing your job. So you can.
Oh, nice. It's a good
Yeah.
topic.
Well, I mean, technically, did you kind of already lose your job? I mean, retirement is what I'm saying. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
we-
lose it.
We,
I know
we
this is
call it
we call it
retirement in the industry.
in the industry.
What's the oldest tight end that was in the league? I mean, what's the lifeline?
Well, hold
or
on. Before
lifespan?
you get into that, you got to introduce who we're
Should
talking
we do an
to. Maybe-
introduction? All
Yeah,
right.
do a little
Yeah.
introduction.
So for the 12 people that are going to watch this podcast,
We're 4 of them.
we're 4 of
Correct.
them.
Hell, you kidding me? I don't watch this shit.
Record it and burn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our guest today, he's the first guest with a Wikipedia page.
Ooh.
Georgia Tech tight end, NFL vet, played with the Bucks, Dolphins, Seahawks, and Lions. He's a regular at Barefoot Billy's Friendly Tavern, and he's a season
Shoeless
ticket holder for the former Tampa Bay Vipers.
He's still a season
Buddy.
ticket holder.
Will Heller.
It's an honor to be here, boys. It's an honor to be here.
That's fucking
I want to
hilarious.
I'd like to thank Tyler actually for toilet papering my house about a month ago. With
Are you
JoJo.
serious?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Grown men toilet papering still.
Yeah, I get my wife wakes me up about 7 a.m. She's like,
Get
"You
your
got
gun.
rolled- Yeah, you got rolled last night, you fucking loser."
This is your
I'm
wife.
Yeah. I'm
By
like,
the way, Tyler had his 40th birthday like less than 2 months ago. So
Yeah, I'm a 14-year-old trapped in a 4-year-old body.
I'm like, Tyler and JoJo did it. She's like, no shit, Tyler and JoJo did it.
She's like, I knew that. Just go clean the shit up.
Dude, it was like rain that night.
Oh no. That's
Oh man,
great.
it was like fucking paper mache on the driveway.
So the best is Brandon. So JoJo calls me the next day and he's like, hey, Will called me, and of course Will is totally chill, but he's like, apparently, Katie's a little mad about the grown men TP in the house, and then it rained and made it worse.
She doesn't see the irony.
And
Right, it goes deeper
And,
than this, Katie.
so Joe wants me to tell him how to act. Joe's 42 or 43, and he's like, hey, can you let me know what repercussions I'm looking at? And he's like,
What should I do?
he's like, I'm asking you because I know you've been in trouble a lot. So,
Yeah. I know you've been in trouble a lot by wives, not just your own, just wives in general. So you are the authority. You've walked home in a pizza box.
I mean, Aaron Diaz, our former Nate Diaz was on the last pod. She's been upset at me,
Oh yeah.
So Zach is like, whatever you do, JoJo, you need to do it in person.
Yes.
So
That's fair.
yeah, dude.
That's
so
fair.
Joe showed up at the house, man. Had a Outback gift card.
Does she even like Outback?
Yeah. Of course.
Okay, good.
The best is he knows Katie and Will pretty well. So he's like, what?
Yeah.
I think they'd eat at Outback. Like, they like it. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, everybody eats at Outback, kind of, And he's like, I'm just going to go with like a solid gift certificate there. And I was like, just take it in person, let her say her piece, and then apologize, let her say whatever else she wants to follow with. And then you just take it, hand her the card, and say thank you.
And just keep it moving. Keep it moving.
So full disclosure, about 2 years earlier, Will was part of a party that TP'd my house as well. So
Yeah, it was
wow.
it was
the
bad.
damage wasn't nearly as bad as what we did. But
Dude, I just
and then
watched
fast forward
Yeah.
from when we got Will, fast forward, I don't know, 2 weeks, Russ Healy's birthday party.
Oh,
We were,
too.
it was like 8 hours of drinking.
Yeah.
I ghosted the bar, came home, sleeping. I wake up, people are pouring in my house. Why I give the passcode to my friends to my front door is beyond me. But anyways, I come downstairs, everybody's being loud, and someone's like, hey, you might want to go outside. You're being TP'd. So I'm being TP'd by Zach and JoJo with my own fucking toilet paper.
It's the best.
Zach, I think the same night JoJo calls me. He's like, hey, man, I'm getting Tyler back for you. Yeah. I'm like, you were there when you got me, you dumbass.
How are you getting him back for me
Yeah,
when
you're-
you were involved?
He's just like a hired hand, He's like a hitman with toilet
No,
paper.
yeah. He's trying to play both sides. He's like a spy.
Right.
Look,
I'm
I'm
like,
getting him for you.
I'm like, I
So you
didn't
don't
order
kick
this
my ass.
fucking op, Joe. No.
So can we talk about your high value targets that you've got in the past or attempted to get in the past even?
It's pretty classified.
Okay.
Are these? You know what? We got to have some stories. I know there's some NFL stories out there that you can tell. You can keep people's wives and girlfriends and mistresses and shit out of it, but there's got to be something you can tell.
Actually, Tyler brings up a pretty good one. We were going into a bye week, so we had a couple nights off, and
who were you playing for at this time?
This is up in Detroit.
Oh, I love Detroit.
So the D. So I met up with teammate. We were hanging out, having some beers, and then another member of the staff met up with us. And I just get antsy, man. Like towards the end of the night, like I need some action, And I'm like, let's hit a high-profile target,
Oh shit. Oh boy.
And my buddy who we were with, he's like, we're brainstorming. We usually invent the high-profile target, like Tyler in my world's a high-profile target.
Yeah,
clearly.
And he's like, well, so-and-so, who was the head coach of Michigan at the time, he's like, he lives right down the street from me. And
we'll give the time frame. When did the time frame is 2009 to 2000?
No, time frame's irrelevant.
Yeah, it was somewhere between 81 and
and the present day.
And so, man, we went full tilt. We hit up. I mean, the routine, Tyler. You had. Well, what's the grocery store up there, like the Walmart, but up in
Kroger's?
Michigan? No, it's
in Michigan. There was one on the corner of my house.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But we hit that up and got our supplies, man. We hit it hard. We got after it. The house was under construction, so we had access to the whole place.
Oh.
We're in like bulldozers firing them up.
Are you serious?
Yeah, true
That's
story.
fucking awesome.
I would have loved to have read the Detroit Free Press had you guys gotten caught.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, we had to bail the next morning, or I came back here. It was a bye week, so everyone kind of flies home. And yeah. So it's one of those things you get home, man, and you're like, oh,
that's gonna hurt.
That store has us on camera buying like 800 rolls, whatever it was. Anyway.
And that's what this podcast is all about, man. It's about guys doing, kind of reliving their youth and talking about stuff like that. And
so to give you some insight,
around the campfire.
To give you some insight on the premeditation that went into your situation.
Yep.
We were at Dead Bob's 2.
Okay.
Bars closing early due to COVID-19.
Right.
And we were brainstorming high-profile targets, and you're the highest-profile individual we know. Only friend on Wikipedia, anyway. So, randomly, one of the dudes that you don't know, you were TP'd by a stranger as well. He had showed up and had previously purchased a 12-pack of toilet paper, but 12 rolls isn't going to do enough. So we did a drive-by 7-Eleven, and this is in the midst of the toilet paper shortage at the beginning of COVID-19.
Oh my
God.
And I stroll up, and they have this like end cap full of singles, and I just start shoveling them into my arms. I go up and I flop them down on the counter, and she starts scanning, and I'm like, I need a 12-pack of White Claw and that pizza that had been sitting there for like 4 hours. So we roll out. We're in our buddy's car, killing this shitty pizza on the way to your house, drinking White Claws.
Tyler,
we have all these singles.
Point of information, is this the Gandy 7-Eleven or is this the Southdale Mabry 7-Eleven?
This is Euclid and Dale Mabry 7-Eleven.
Ooh,
wow.
Okay. Yeah, that's deep in the hood.
Yeah, that's on the perimeter. Yeah.
So, anyways, we rolled up. We left your house, and we drive by Barefoot Billy's, and they're open. It's like 1:47.
Of course they are.
We roll in, and we were there till 5 a.m.
Oh God!
Of course you were.
So much fun. It was a great night.
So
probably about the time you started cleaning up your toilet paper, we were still drinking.
Yeah, we had an HOA meeting that night. I think as well.
You did not.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So how did that go?
Oh my God.
Were you embarrassed of us?
Like, I wasn't there. I think I did.
You bowed out. Gracefully bowed out.
I got 2 kids under 3. I can't do all that.
You're not gonna. What are they, crazy? Come on.
Yeah, let me know.
Were you confronted by your neighbors at all?
There's some hairy eyeballs.
Tyler, he's taller than you. He's 6'6". I
don't mean confronted as in like.
It's just funny,
as a matter of fact, I like the fact that we're on this this forum because this is about the only time we're going to be the same height.
Yeah, nobody can see your booster seat.
Exactly, except for me.
I do
I'm
look
not that comfortable.
Yeah, it's funny, man. It's just, you know, I live on a one-street cul-de-sac, and the average age is probably 50 plus. You know, they're not used to that. You know what I mean?
Like, he doesn't have any high school kids.
Yeah.
So they were targeting him.
Exactly.
I had no alibi. Like
Nothing.
Just
you
take
just told your
all.
neighbors. Yeah, Bob, that's me. Sorry, guys.
Just took one right to the face. Yeah. But, you know,
great.
it's I was telling him that's how we show respect in our inner circle.
Exactly. It's a sign of respect, man.
It's like getting beaten in, only you just get TP'd.
Right.
Yeah, right. You don't get jumped in.
Yeah. Did you get the paddle yet? Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. It's like taking the wood, Bob. It's fine. Go back in your house. I'll clean this shit up.
What ply did they hit your house with? They hit me with double ply.
It was
I couldn't tell, man. The evidence was destroyed in the rain.
It was just all over the lawn.
If they hit you with single ply, it's disrespect. So
right. It's like you're not even worth it.
So I got a serious question, kind of going back to the whole retirement thing, because we were talking about this, and it's kind of the reason why kind of led to us kind of trying to get you on and invite you to do this, and we appreciate it. As you well know, as aviators, especially as pilots who are at the top of the food chain of the military, just ask us and we'll tell you that that's the truth and the fact. Ask anybody, as long as it's us. And so, and me personally right now, I'm kind of the oldest of the bunch. I think I retired and got out. And I remember leaving the base in the flight suit. We talked about this before on one of the other shows. And like that feeling of, this is the last time I'm going to kind of lace up, you know?
Right.
Can you speak to like how, you know, you kind of dealt with that, if you dealt with it, or were you like ready to go? Cause I thought I was ready to go and I'm like, fuck, I'm out of here. And then I'm like,
yeah,
that kind of hurt.
You know, my whole NFL story is pretty wild in the sense that, just going way back, I was a college walk-on.
That's awesome.
Was undrafted. Growing up, I was never an all-star on any level. It's never like, oh man, that guy's going to make it to the league or whatever.
Dude, you're 6'6", 275. How is that?
Right.
Not always.
That shit happened late, man. I was a real late bloomer. Like all through high school, I was short as hell. And just a hard worker and kind of grinded. Awesome. And just towards the end, I just shot up and had a few opportunities to play. I was getting like D2 offers and 1AA and stuff. But two of my buddies were going to Georgia Tech on scholarship. Hugh Riley, who was one of them, one of our good friends. I don't know if you met him down here.
You?
Yeah. So I was looking to go up north and play, and at the last second, something happened with school where they wanted someone else. So I decided to walk on at Georgia Tech and played there. Ended up earning a scholarship, and then the NFL thing was never on the map. And then my senior year, we had a coach come in, Shane Gailey, who has some NFL connections. He said, "Man, you got the frame, whatever." So I just kind of went for it.
Wow.
Wasn't drafted, came down here, made the Bucks as an undrafted free agent, played 10 years, and it was all, for me, it was literally one day at a time. Like,
wow.
The story of, having to earn your job literally every single day was kind of my thing. So having been my story, once you get towards the end and your body starts to break down a little bit and you realize, the young guys are coming in, it wasn't hard for me to kind of be like, all right.
Oh, really?
It's been a good run.
It's been a good run.
Yeah,
you weren't expecting it anyway, and the fact that it happened for 10 years, man, that's
exactly. But
you did put in the work. You worked your ass off to get the position.
Right. Yeah. And I thought that would allow for an easy transition, kind of towards what you're saying. I thought that would. It's been cool. It's been fun. I'm out. Let's go start reality. And but I realized early into my retirement that, I had been a part of a team for a long time and been a part of something.
Yeah.
And it's probably similar to you guys, like you have it's just a sport, man. But
Squadron and team are the same thing. If you break it down.
Definitely, man. It's definitely more than just the sport. Yeah.
Right. When you're a part of something and you're showing up every day, you know that's appreciated and needed by other people to make the organism as a whole function, which you guys are right in the, I mean, that's what you do. You guys are a part of a freaking machine, and your job's important and it's respected and it's needed. And it was kind of that deeper level that rocked me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like a month, 2 months, 3 months into it, where you kind of like, you try to handle the surface level psychological stuff, which, you're like, oh, I'm into, you try to pre-plan for it. And you're like, I'll be cool. I'll stay busy. Like I went back to school, finished my degree, coached a lot, like tried to stay rolling activity wise. But man, like, you wake up and you're like, fuck, no one gives a fuck what I'm doing today. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I had that very morning. This morning. I had that.
Yeah. Like I could go fucking like sit on a fucking tree log by the river and no one gives a shit, Whereas for so long, like literally our performance, and I'm just a small part of a bigger, whatever you want to call it, team, but like literally our performance, a lot of people's jobs depend on it. A lot of people's livelihood depends on it. People care. People are like interested in what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So like that, that deeper level was tough for me. It's like, well, fuck, I better find something. Like, what do I got to find something to fucking do or like care about or whatever.
Man. We talked about that.
Right.
Yeah. Find that purpose is.
Exactly. Wow. So, man, that was tough. The other thing that you guys can probably relate to, the NFL is not a typical job by any means.
No.
And like everything's just dialed up, man. Like if you looked at all the characteristics of any job and, whatever, like the difficulty in keeping your job, fucking 11. Like the stress related to keeping your job, 11. The excitement of your job in the NFL, 11.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like the pressure playing in front of fucking millions of people and you got to do your job against really good motherfuckers. 11,
11. Wow.
Physical like contact, like that release, that kind of fight. You're in like hand-to-hand combat 4 days a week, fucking around with big dudes, like 11. Like all these things are so dialed up.
Wow.
And then when it's over, and you guys know that. I mean, like, I don't know, like flying in airspace where you could get like whatever. It's all, it's pretty intense shit. And then when it's over, it's like done, and you're in this fucking vacuum with like all those knobs are now, all those knobs are a fucking zero.
Yeah.
And
that's a great analogy.
So it's tough. Like that, like when you're living with all that shit turned up, it's like adrenaline. It's like it literally has a chemical effect on you, I would think, like your brain and like getting riled up. And then when all that stuff gets vacuumed out of you, there's like, you tend to diff, like, wait, right? Like, you're like, man, where's the excitement in my life? Like, what is up? So
it's hard to replace that too. It's hard to replace the exhilaration of being an aviator and going to combat, flying combat missions or whatever. Just flying. Mm-hmm. It's hard to replace that kind of thing. And then couple that with the camaraderie you have with your team or the people that you fly with. I love these guys, Zach, and well, I don't like Zach, but stop. I love redheads. Stop it. It's tough. When you're with that team and you're out there getting shit done, you can walk away from the jet and you're proud of what you did. And I can only imagine. And then we're only dialed in probably around the 7. Yeah, but you're definitely 11.
You know what I'm saying, man?
Our dial only goes to 7. Man.
But like the little shit, man. Like you guys put in a bunch of work, and then you go and whatever you do, you go home, you go out, you drink together, you connect. It creates a connection. There's an emotional connection with it. Like it's not like a day job where you're sitting in the office writing all day. Like you guys are going through some shit together.
Yeah. But that's willing to bail each other out of jail the whole night.
Yeah.
Or in jail together in Italy.
Right.
Northern Italy.
Yeah, man. I don't know that story.
That's a story.
I was just looking at something, and it's like, it says here that out of high school football players, only 1% of high school football players become Division I college football players, and only 1% of Division I college football players become NFL players. So you have like less than 1% of 1% chance of ever if you ever played high school ball of ever touching an NFL field. So.
And you played for 10 years.
And what's wild about that, man, is like never, ever at any point in my day-to-day life did those numbers come into play. Like
Even
never.
register.
And a lot of that was just by circumstance. Yeah. I don't know. Like it's my life or my path through football was literally, like I said, just like one day at a time, because I had no other option.
I think you just enjoyed it, and it was a path to, you know, like enjoyment of hanging with the guys. You like the camaraderie, and then I think you just once you get into the mix with that, you just want to keep it going. And then I don't know, Will, can you speak to like as far as you were ending up at Jaw Tech? You were actually pretty, because you're a pretty smart guy. Like, did the engineering factor of that school come into effect as far as like you actually wanted to get a degree that counted versus just any old degree? Was that a factor at all? I don't know.
You know, I got a battery warning. I wanted to go to a good school, and the plan was to use football to go to an Ivy League school.
Oh, okay.
And I mentioned earlier, I was on my way to Princeton, and at the last second, like a week before signing day, they called and they're like, "Hey, man," because I was bottom of the totem pole recruit, but I was like in the door, and they're like, "Hey, man, this kid just decommitted from like Harvard or some shit." They're like, "Sorry, like you're out." And so, like from my list that I had left, if I wanted to play football and go to school, Tech was I seek like challenge. I don't know that I was seeking engineering in particular, but
sure.
It was like, okay, you've got an opportunity to go to a really good school, and you can here's a challenge, like go fucking play with the big boys. Nice. You know. And that was my motivation. Like as soon as that was over, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go see what this is all about. And I wasn't extremely confident going in, but we came from a program, man, that was like, our foundation was just like hard motherfucking work. We were just tough little dudes who played a very disciplined. We ran the wishbone. You know, it's like
wishbone.
You were playing against all the military academies most years, right? So
man. So we, like me and those other two guys I mentioned, we came in that place and like we kind of surprised ourselves because we were like busting our ass and getting recognized.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think all three of us were like, all right, we're going to be fine here. And it just worked out, and
you guys had a good time.
Did you ever get scholarship? Did you ever get scholarship while you were there?
Yeah, I got, they gave me a scholarship after my freshman year. I ended up getting pulled up like halfway through, which again, at the time, man, I had no idea that was even a thing. Wow. Like, we just don't fuck around, man. We just like, we grind, we work, and like whatever else happens.
I think, and that's
cool.
There's a testament there, man. That's a testament to like, let the work lead you. Just do the work. Right. Do the work. These good things start happening for you, right? If you prepare yourself,
100%.
All this stuff happens. And I think we can attest to that, being kind of looking at the
Brandon, I got kind of a civilian man's parallel to this. Like, I tried to get in the Air Force Academy my senior year in high school, and I was going to go out there and play basketball. I had gone out the year before, and the coach said, "Yeah, we'd like to have you out here."
Yeah.
It comes down to it, and they offer me a prep school slot. I thought it was an insult. I didn't know that that's essentially how they redshirted people. Yeah, and you don't have any communication with the academy. There's zero. So they just send you a letter, and it says you've been accepted to the prep school. Yeah. And I literally told my dad, I was like, I'm not going to a fucking prep school. I'm ready to go to college.
Yeah.
So I turned down the offer. I go to Southern Illinois University because I didn't apply to any other colleges because I'm a dumbass. Yeah. And so my dad got me in his alma mater. I go to Southern Illinois, and I'm walking around campus one day, and some guy says, "Do you want a free hamburger?" Sure. So I walk in the back there. It's the ROTC unit. I never even heard of ROTC. Never even knew it existed. I walk in the back there, and there's all these people schmoozing these motherfuckers and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?" And they're like, "Well, this is Air Force, ROTC. You don't have to commit until your junior year." And I was like, "Oh, cool. I just tried to get to the Air Force Academy last year." And they're like, "Oh, really? Well, what are you studying?" And I was like, "Well, I'm studying mechanical engineering." And they're like, "Oh, really? You need to meet the commandant." 5 seconds later, I'm meeting the commandant. 1 day later, I'm in his office. 5 days later, I'm in classes.
Jeez.
And within a month, I have a full ride scholarship.
Yeah. That's how it happens.
He waited till he saw my grades. When I came back and I had like a 3.5 after my first semester with 21 credit hours. For some reason, I had this dumbest counselor ever. She signed me up for 21 because I had to add I had 17 credit hours, and then she added the 4 credit hours for OTC. And 21 credit hours my first semester, and that comment.
Jesus.
He goes, dude, if you can do 21 credit hours at a 3.5, he goes, I'll support your ass every semester until you graduate. Sound like
he asked you out on a date.
No, but like that's what I'm saying is like
he's into Reddit. I like Reddit.
Consider that a blessing because you could have been stuck at the academy for 4 years.
Yeah, dude.
No.
Can you imagine?
I got to live a fraternity life. I had a great time in college.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Everything was great. But what I'm saying, the parallel is like I didn't even know what I was doing. I just put my head down and worked.
Just and did the work. Yeah, you do the work. You follow these opportunities.
I kind of literally fell into a scholarship. Not like Will. It was a little more defined, but like it was.
I don't think Will fell into a scholarship.
No. I'm just saying I fell into a scholarship.
Okay.
Will's was a little more defined.
I think that's called blood, sweat, and tears, and broken bones. And
yeah, right. And well, I mean, it goes back to that whole thing, man. Just put in the work, and good things will happen. Don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry about getting to
exactly
because it may not happen.
I think if there's any story to be gained or lesson to be gained from my story. And again, for me, it was accidental in a way, or it just it fell in line. But I think sometimes you can get too focused on, you need goals and you need to set goals. But sometimes you can be so transfixed on those goals and so worried about the future and maybe worried about the past, what you did fucking yesterday or a mistake you made or anything. Whereas your real focus needs to be just on making incremental steps daily. And don't get fucking lost on, don't get lost on shit you can't control. Control the things you can control, which is what the fuck's in front of you, like right now.
And that's a great segue to current events with the NFL, right? Like no preseason.
Yeah. Right.
So what does that mean for, the non-superstars?
Bro, I don't know, man. I feel
How do they try out? Yeah, it's tough.
That's a huge evaluation period. So I don't know. There's the world's fucking weird right now, right? It's like we're faced with these situations where it's like, man, I mean, you got to figure they're gonna stick with guys. I mean, they'll get a lot of evaluation.
They will.
It sounds like they're gonna expand the rosters too, right? Maybe
I don't know. I hadn't heard that.
Will, have you heard of a guy named Mike Lombardi? He does a podcast. He's a former NFL GM. He was under Belichick at Cleveland. He was like the GM for Belichick at Cleveland.
Yeah, I heard the name.
He used to work for like Al. Who's the guy at Oakland
Davis?
Al Davis. He worked for Al Davis back in the day, and then he was Belichick's GM in the Browns. Anyway, he does a podcast now, and he was saying today, he's like, all these coaches are going to stick with guys that are like, I know the way to the stadium guys. Like they're the guys that have been on the bus every year. They can tell the driver how to get to the stadium. They may not be the best player on the roster. They may not have a work ethic, but they know how to get to the stadium. He goes, those are the guys that are going to make the roster this year. He goes, sucks. All the guys that come on undrafted free agents because all these freaking – he had another name for the God, what else is he calling them? Shit. Anyway, they're bottom of the roster guys, but they know the beats of the NFL. And he's like, sure, guys are going to get signed by like every team.
That's the cool thing about the NFL, man, is there's a place for guys like me. Like there's a place for people who by no means jump off the film as, sick athletes and are wow guy. I mean, you need those guys, but there's a place for people who just fucking get shit done and are accountable and know the way to the stadium. That's probably what he's fucking talking about.
Stadium. Yeah. Did you ever have any issues with like fans or anything? Did you have fans?
Tyler.
Speaking of
besides Tyler,
well,
have you ever
besides
had
me, we've got a super fan on the line,
boobs.
And
super fan.
I think
we didn't know you had fans.
Like when you say issue, what do you mean issue?
Like grown men trying to hug
grown men who jump off buildings during Zach's 40th birthday party.
Well, what are you talking about? Will motherfucking Heller. How you doing, my man?
What is that?
Man?
I'm Will's biggest fucking fan. So I just want to be here. Tyler told me he was going to talk to the 13th greatest tight end in Seahawks history, and I was like, I got to be there.
Hey, last time I saw
the 13th.
Last time I saw you, you jumped off a roof.
That was amazing.
Mine for you.
Yeah.
Sounds about
Hey,
right.
Zach, speaking of that, what's your wife think of Omar before we get into his fanboy questions?
Hey, nothing is Omar's fault. It's all my own fault.
It's all.
That was a
It
great
was a
40th, by the way.
It was a sick landing too.
I was impressed.
I think Tyler's more referencing the bus that happened last.
No, that was Omar's birthday. I'm sorry. Didn't Omar make an impression at your 40th? Maybe not.
Oh, the
He's
jumping
dealing
off the roof. That was just Omar. That's Omar being Omar. That's all good.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let Omar introduce himself. I'm gonna go poop or something.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, fucking internet. Pardon me.
Cool, man. Cool.
Anyways, yeah. So, Will, man, it's good to
What's
see you
up,
again.
dude? You too, man.
It has been a while. My knees are still hurting from the last time we saw each other. I will actually say that wasn't the drunkest. Obviously, that wasn't the drunkest I've ever been, but the drunkest I have ever been was with you, which is quite an accomplishment because of all the friends that I know on this call.
It's an honor. It's an honor because we haven't spent that much time together.
Yeah, no, I think 3 total nights in my life, and it never ends well. So.
Yeah, I get a lot of that. My problem is I can drink too much, man.
Actually, I had a question about it. I want to know how many Irish car bombs have you ever drank consecutively?
Like little guys like you, I always get you guys in trouble. All the little,
no, that's for sure, man.
Oh yeah, that was Gasparilla, man. I remember that. That was the old. Was it 3 in a row?
I don't know, man. But
where was that? Was that
on
Fort Green Fields downtown?
Yes, Fort Green Fields downtown. Yeah.
Fort Green Fields on bikes. Yeah.
That's solid.
I had some scabs after that. I rode a bike all the way home that night, which is not ideal after 3 car bombs in a row.
Well, at least you made it home. Zach has some pretty good stories about getting home late night.
Oh, I mean, like I just ended up at Kennedy at the Wendy's. You know what I mean? Just like trying to walk through the drive-through. That's all.
Zach,
Barefoot.
One flip-flop. Don't you lose one flip-flop all the time?
That's only strip club nights.
Okay.
Yeah. How many times have you been to the strip club with one flip-flop only?
What strip club is it? Is there a locker there, like Zatch, with just a bunch of flip-flops in it?
Penthouse 1 and the Dollhouse twice. And the funny thing is, like, one of the times somebody put their foot over my foot so that they couldn't see it.
Didn't you put those things on stage too, right?
Oh yeah. And then the greatest part is somebody goes, "Hey, do you actually have shoes?" And I was like, "No, I lost one of them somewhere along tonight." And they're like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Start the walk.
And then I called Melissa from like Waffle House at like 2 a.m. I'm like, "Hey, I need a ride." And she's like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "Waffle House." "Where?" "Northwest Shore." "Were you at the strip club?" "Nope."
Yeah. How's it?
Yeah.
What about the time you walked home in a chicken costume?
That wasn't a chicken costume. So it was to correct people. They had a sale at the what was that old costume place called, Will? That is
right there on McDill. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Anyway, but they were selling Easter Bunny costumes for like $10 because they were going out of business.
Steal.
I bought an Easter Bunny costume and just threw the head away. And then I dyed the rest of the costume minus I took the middle of it and balled it up with like a rubber band, and I dyed the rest of it blue and then left the middle of it white, and then I put the rainbow with the rain coming out of it, and I was basically like a naughty Care Bear for a Halloween party.
Yeah, that's not creepy at all.
No, creepy Care Bear. That's what I was. And then it was actually funny because it was the night before a UTA night, which is our drill weekend. And I'm walking home from Hyde Park. It's like 6 a.m, and we're supposed to be at drill at like 7. And this guy named Michael Albert drives by me on Bayshore. Like I'm walking along and he drives by me and he stops and waits for me to catch up to him. And he's like, "Hey, Zach, do you need a ride to the UTA?" And I was like, "What the fuck do you think, Mike?" And then I just put my head down and kept walking. And I'm like, I have like a face that's painted white with like purple cheeks and like little ears coming out of my head, and I'm in a full bunny costume, and I'm like, "What the fuck do you think, Mike?" And this guy is a salt of the earth nice guy. Like he's like, "Hey man, do you need a ride to the UTA?" And I'm like, "What the fuck do you think, Mike?"
Just like the most disgruntled Care Bear.
Oh, just mad as hell. And then like I remember I walked in the house that morning and Melissa's like, "Where the fuck have you been?"
How many times has she said that between 7 and 9 a.m.?
I mean,
Too many.
not lately, but
Not lately, yeah.
How many miles have you logged barefoot?
God, I wish I had one of these for those years, because it would have been epic. It would have been epic to like download it and be like, "Holy shit, I did 13 miles last night."
I just want to know how many people like checked their Ring doorbell the next day and saw you walking home in a Care Bear costume.
Yeah, the one from last July was the one I was really worried.
Well, I didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it, but I was really worried that Hugh might have Ring doorbell footage of my
So, slight segue here, Will. Let's pretend you're on Dancing.
Hold on.
Okay.
Speaking of which, directly over your right shoulder, I see a stash of toilet paper.
Yeah. What? Is it making you nervous? That's allocated. That's allocated.
Hide your ammo, bro.
Good eyes, man.
Anyway.
So Will, Dancing with the Stars. You're on Dancing with the Stars, and Jon Gruden is a judge. What do you think his analysis would be?
What?
He'd go, "What the fuck's wrong with you, you fucking dolt?" I've never had my ass chewed in my life like a Jon Gruden ass chewing. We were
like
playing
adjectives or what?
Oh my God, we were playing the Falcons in Atlanta my rookie year, and we got up kind of big. So I was playing some tight end, and I was blocking Kearney. I was down blocking him, and he crossed my face, and I got a holding call. And I was at the sideline, and it was fucking unbelievable. Like he was lighting into me so bad that the special teams coach got in between us and was like pushing him off me as if like a fight was about to break out. Now I'm a rookie. Like I'm just big eyeballs. Like, what the fuck? This is the Georgia Dome? Sweet.
Yeah.
And yeah, especially since got in between us, got him off me. Like coaches were coming up to me after, like, "Are you okay, man?" Like it was a bad deal. So I'm kind of scarred from that. So I'd probably get, that's all that comes in mind with that guy. Just, he'd be like, "You fucking suck. You got 2 left feet, you fucking dumb piece of shit."
I thought he criticized
a dance, man.
Yeah, I thought he criticized one of your touchdown dances.
He'd be like, "Fuck you, man. Fuck you." I'd be like, "Dude, I'm fucking dancing, John. It's on NBC." Like, shut up. He's a psycho, but he's real smart. Yeah.
I don't know.
So, have you ever been starstruck?
Me?
Mm.
Is that no, I don't think so. I'm generally not impressed by people. Like Zach impresses me.
He impresses
Jojo, like, yeah. But I don't know, man. I like people that are funny and down to earth and toilet paper people, and I'm not impressed by like celebrity, so to speak.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So Tyler, I went over, I actually flew overseas. This is what we were talking about earlier, but with the podcast here, I actually did a overseas mission this last weekend because I'm like 2 years overdue for this training event that we're supposed to do, which is hilarious, Will, because with the airline, I fly over the Atlantic. I don't know, I must have done it, 75 times last summer, but because the military doesn't see me do it, they have to have me do it in their airplane. And you're supposed to do it every year just to be familiar with crossing the ocean because it's a little bit bigger of a deal and there's some other stuff you got to know.
Right.
So they sent me this year in the middle of this COVID crisis. They're like, hey, you're the only instructor on orders and we need you to do this mission. And I was like, I'm not going to bitch because they're doing me a solid. I'm going to do them a solid. They load the airplane up with people that are unqualified, which means I have to sit in the seat the whole way there and the whole way back. Like when I go on American Airlines one, it's like gentlemanly, like we split it up in thirds and, there's a nap involved and there might be a movie watching if you want to do that.
Yeah.
But so I got a sore throat on the way over there. It really starts coming in while I'm there. I get back. My wife's like, dude, you need to go get tested. So I'm on order. So I go on to base and I get tested on base. And she's like, what are your symptoms? I'm like, well, I just cough and, head cold and shit like that. And she's like, I don't know if it's quite COVID. And I was like, I don't think it is either. But I go, if you don't test me, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble when I go home. I got a 5-month-old. And she goes, okay, it looks like we'll be able to test you. Excuse me. So they throw me in line. I'm there for like 2 hours waiting to get tested, just sitting in my car. They're going around car to car. Dude, Tyler, when you did your test, describe to me how you did your test so I can compare my situation.
So I ordered it online.
Yes.
It showed up 2 days later. Swab my nose, put it back in the mail the same day.
No,
FedEx.
Describe to me exactly how you did the test.
Oh, I stuck it up my nose. I twirled it around 6 times, moved it to the other nostril. This one, okay, so I've done 2 tests. The mail-in test, it was like a Q-tip. And they just said, submerge the Q-tip in your nose.
Okay.
So that was easy.
Did you touch your brain at all?
Let me tell my fucking story, bro. So round 2, I didn't touch my brain with the first one. And the good thing is my brain's so fucking small, it would have to go way up there. So the second test, I did CVS drive-thru, which was Tuesday. And
did they have to reach through the little thing? Like, did they have to get their arm through that?
No, they just dropped it in the drawer and I pulled it out, stuck it up. But it was like a really long, pointy swab. Yeah. So I did that. Mind you, it was 2 weeks after I had symptoms. And I need 2 consecutive negative tests to go back to fly for the civilian company I fly for. Yeah. So I'm just hoping it's negative. But yeah, stuck it up there. It was very uncomfortable. 2 days later, which was actually this morning, positive again. I also took another test today because I'm just doing it like every 2 days until I get 2 consecutive negative tests so I can go back to work. But yeah, so it's the long pointy swabs don't feel great. No. It's uncomfortable, but it's not like painful.
The freaking doctor at base.
Oh, I did it myself.
She said, lean your head back. So I turned my head back like this. And the next thing I feel is like something on the inner part of my eyeball, like moving my eyeball to the right. And I'm like it chokes me. She has it up there so far. And she's like, are you in pain? And I'm like, yes. my eye has like a tear coming out, but I'm trying to be a tough guy because, heaven forbid you freaking cry while some chick's sticking something up your nose. But she's like, am I up there too far? And I was like, yes, fuck. I bob my head down and it like flicks the thing out. And then she's like, oh, I have to do it again now. And I'm like,
oh no. What is this, your first nose swab?
What's that?
Like, what is this, your first nose swab?
The first one that's gone into my freaking like brain cavity.
Oh yeah, no, I meant for the.
You should have told you I had Bell's palsy.
Yeah, no, like it was so painful, and like I'm so glad that thing came out negative, because if it was positive, I was gonna have to like do something else for the test, because I'm never going back there again.
Yep. So JoJo's positive. Nate's taking a test today. Will, any flu symptoms? Any COVID experiences or what?
No, man. I feel pretty good. How do you feel?
I feel great.
Did you have any symptoms at all?
Yeah, mine lasted probably 18 to day and a half, maybe 2 days. Had some flu symptoms.
How would you compare this with your gonorrhea test, like in the results after that? Equal
similar
pain level?
Similar, yeah.
Omar, the one thing that's in common with all the people that have caught it is one of your friends. So you may want to tell that friend to, calm it down.
Pipe down.
She's not, yeah. Yeah, I'm not getting into that right now.
But are you talking about gonorrhea? Or are you talking about COVID?
All of the above.
Oh, yeah, we need to clear the air.
I love how Omer's audio
which,
only.
Yeah, sorry about that. But speaking of which, and getting swabs put in places, but again, I know you guys have swabs in other places, and that shit hurts way worse.
Yeah.
Do you remember Dr. Stratford, the old
Yes.
flight doc, McDill? Yeah, he gave me a test one time. Him and his 95-year-old shaking hands. If you could see, yeah, exactly. Right.
What were your symptoms, Omar?
Oh yeah, sure. A little bit of pus coming out, stuff like that. The worst part is when. Go ahead.
No, we're listening.
Stuff.
I was saying the worst part is when it's when the flight clinic girl that checks you in is the one that you think might have given it to you.
Yeah, that's awkward. Just so you know, like the 12 people listening to this podcast all know that your med tech gave you gonorrhea.
All good.
Well, except for Dick Bow. Dick Bow won't know her.
Touche. So yeah, how were the new kids on the overseas?
Everybody did fine, but it's easy when it's all freaking like point and click. It's like logging into the freaking internet, man. Like it's just like.
So,
it's not rocket science.
Are you instructing? Like, you're on an airplane, right?
Yeah.
And then are you teaching them like the process of the flight? Are they all like crammed up in the cockpit taking notes, or what? Is it all?
I wouldn't say taking notes. It's just watching the actions. I would say like.
I got you.
And it's all big boy programs. So it's not like I go back and wake everybody up. It's like, hey, it's time to log in on the CPDLC, which is like it's a controller pilot like text, like it's texting is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey guys, watch me log in. No, it's like, hey, if you guys want to see it, come on up.
I got you.
And then getting a oceanic clearance, it's just another login thing. But I don't like go back there and shake everybody out of bed and say, hey, it's Christmas morning. Everybody come check your gifts. I'm about to do some instruction.
Did you guys go to Bird in Hand, or was that closed due to COVID?
Burnt down.
What?
Yeah, you gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Bird in Hand is this little dive bar,
No
like walking
way.
distance from the front gate of the
burnt
base.
down, man. Burnt down. It's done. And
Well, that was bound to happen.
we were restricted to base only. We were almost restricted to not even be able to go to like even the G Club or any of the other stuff. But the day of, the airman that was there was like, I don't know about this restriction stuff. I think you guys can go wherever you want. And we're like, that's what we heard. Okay.
Have you ever traversed significant territory in England barefoot, Zach?
Ooh.
It's a good question.
Have you ever been to a strip club in the UK?
No.
Germany.
You really?
That's another story.
Oh.
Germany, yes.
Zach, hang on, Zach. You were with me in the UK when we threw quarters at strippers.
Wait, were we in, was this in
Or a pound. Or
was
a
this in
pound.
London? Was this on our London trip?
Yeah, we were there at some point, and I thought we were throwing coins at the strippers because it was all coin money at that.
I mean, I've been to a lot.
Tips.
So yeah. I've always wanted to do that because in Australia I tried to do it and they got mad at me and I was like, they're $1, $2, they're coins. That's what we're supposed to do.
That's disrespect.
It is disrespectful. They said you could just set a 5 there, and I was like,
were you like, have you guys ever eaten at Outback?
yeah, a little needy. $5.
Were you like, we love your food in the States?
I'm more of a shower you with coins type of guy rather than just give you a 5. I'd rather just like.
Hey, Will, so if you want me to edit this out, I will. When you
edit it for the 12 people that watch?
For the 12 people, yeah. So when you were in Detroit, did you ever go bowling? And if so, any interest in telling the story?
Bowling.
With kegs and quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Or is that a conversation that I need to delete?
I mean, it's not that great of a story. We just, like, for us, it's just what you do at a bar. You end up in the basement and throw their shit around. But, yeah, one night we went out after a game. Just had a good time at a bar, and we ended up in the basement section of the bar, just kind of throwing their kegs around and, like, squirting their ketchup everywhere. But the guy with us was a high-profile guy,
so no rules.
You're right.
Being a barefoot Billy's on a Tuesday night.
Like, right. Yeah, Tyler, you're a celebrity there. You know what it means.
It was funny. We had a really young quarterback at the time. He was a #1 draft pick overall, whatever, and he like took. I mean, he's a smart kid. Like, he stays out of trouble, but for whatever reason, anytime my friends would come in town and we'd go out, we'd end up like throwing kegs around and squirting ketchup on each other, and it's a good story for guys to bring back home. Like,
hey, Will, we're headed to Tybee Island for a little family reunion.
Nice, the Peach State.
Yeah. Any recommendations for Tybee? We got a Airbnb on the south end.
Yeah, there's a place called Huckapoo's that I'm still banned from.
Oh, do tell.
Is that a story?
How do you get banned from a place called Huckapoo's?
Huckapoo's, man. That's where I had my bachelor party. It was Tybee Island, and Huckapoo's is great. It's this little just dive, like, swamp-looking bar made out of like old decrepit plywood, and
my fans awesome. Love it.
Yeah, there's like you like dollar bills stapled everywhere, that type of place. And they had a band there, and that I think I'm a lot better at music, like instruments, than I actually am. And I've been trying to get on the keyboard all night. And he was like, "No, man, like you're not ready yet. Don't start playing with the band yet." And I'd be like, "Fine." Like, he was kind of my angel on my shoulder. And bachelor party, whatever. It was flowing, and then finally I'm like, "Hugh, it's time, man. It's time." And he's like, "All right, go." And so I went up to the band. I like tapped the keyboard player on the shoulder. I'm like, "Hey, is it cool if I do some Journey or whatever?" He's like, "Yeah, go for it." And then I walked up, and I must have tripped on something and just fell face forward and knocked the keyboard off the stage.
Oh, did you pick it back up and just start rocking it like a guitar?
Ooh,
You're
nice.
a big boy.
I think they gave me like the fireman carrier, like hooked my armpits and took me up by my toes.
That's a successful bachelor party right there.
Bye, Huckabees. I love you, Huckabees.
Have you ever been to AJ's Dockside there?
I love AJ's. Oh, not that AJ's.
Not that.
Is that you talking about the one in Destin?
No. It's on Tybee. The house we're staying at is right next to this place called AJ's Dockside. It's on the creek side of Tybee.
Yeah, I actually think we did go there one full day. It was the next morning, and we were just kind of sledging.
Yeah, cocktails on the river, whatever.
Right, great Bloody Marys.
Noted.
They put like the whole shrimp in it, It's a cool place, man. It was fun.
It's weird because like we were trying to figure out like because like nobody wants to go back to Illinois where I'm from, and then we just wanted to make it like just like our core family. Because my sister lives in New York City, my other one lives in Illinois, my dad's kind of back and forth between Florida and Illinois, and then I live down here. So we're just kind of trying to find a central place. And
that area is real big St. Patrick's Day country. A lot of Catholics.
Oh, well, we're Catholic, so there you go.
Yeah.
You'll fit right in.
That's Zach's holiday.
That's right. Bring it on.
Savannah, Georgia, that area. It's a good time.
I had a Savannah overnight in the airline, and I had a good time. The captain was like, he's like, hey, you want to go downtown and get nuts? And I was like, I always want to get nuts. So
yeah, they're big drinkers in Savannah, for sure.
Yeah, the biggest rugby tournament in America is the weekend before Savannah's St. Patty's Day weekend every year. So it's the weekend before. So most people come for the rugby tournament and then stay all week and just obliterate themselves the week prior to St. Patty's Day. And it's just like a week-long party for rugby people. So
yeah, they take it serious.
Yeah, it's
That's
cool.
crazy.
Kind of like the Dave and McDonald war.
The what?
Hey, by the way, where'd our host go?
Brandon?
Yeah, he made a mistake about 17 or 18 years ago, and he's dealing with that mistake right now.
They always come back full circle, don't they?
Yeah.
What do you mean by dealing with, Tyler? Let's talk about that.
I don't know details.
Zach,
I mean, teenagers, bro.
Zach, you were talking about rugby. Have you guys seen that Netflix? Will, I want to get your opinion on this. Have you seen that Netflix show, Home Games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick,
Yeah,
huh?
that very first episode when they that whatever that sport is that they play in Florence.
In Italy.
Like, that's brutal.
It's like rugby with no rules.
What are you like? Yeah, I just wanted to get you guys thoughts. We started watching it, and then my wife was like, "Turn the shit off." My daughter's in the room. I'm like,
all I can tell you is
it's just violence.
All I can tell you is I think I was born in the wrong time period, as in like I would not be afraid to like die or lose an eyeball or something like that if it was lost in like battle. Like I would have loved to be in the Civil War back when like you just like a freaking you either like conquered a hill or you were taking it and like a freaking cannonball came by and took your right leg off. Like I would just be like,
hey Zach, we like to call that Bell's palsy hill.
Bell's palsy's for pussy.
And Zach, you can probably attest to this playing rugby because I feel like it's a huge part of that sport.
Uh-huh.
But there's no beer like the beer you have after like a fucking battle like that. Like that sport.
Yeah.
That's the only episode I saw was that first episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's done. And the greatest part is it's done with the dude. Like you have a beer with the guys you just had fucking battle with. Like,
yeah,
it would be like, if you guys could do that in the NFL, it would be awesome. If the media would just leave you guys the fuck alone and you could just like, and I'm sure people would do it rather than exchange uniforms. You just grab each other and freaking chug a beer together and you'd be like,
dude,
it's the most refreshing fucking beer I've ever had.
Yeah, did that happen? Did you guys come back and
everywhere
just go in the locker room and crack open Bud Light
there's
bottles
media
or seltzer cellies or whatever?
It used to be a big tradition. You get on the bus after a game and crush some beers. And I learned once I left Tampa that when you go back and play a team you used to play for, if they give a shit about you, the equipment guys will leave like a case of beer in your locker. Like after the game. So you like,
nice.
and it walks on the bus, you're like, "What's up, boys?" Like,
Yeah.
Awesome.
But around like 07, 08, I think they got rid of alcohol everywhere. Like, it's the league is, I mean, yeah, it's just so much. I mean, the guys are making so much money now and it's fucking up. But like you hear stories from the old days, like the early 90s, where I played with this tight end in Tampa, Dave Moore, who was a snapper. He got drafted by Miami in like 92. And he was saying when he showed up in Miami that every person had an ashtray in their locker, like
We used to have ashtrays in the cockpit.
Yeah. And like at halftime, literally the offensive line always, generally speaking, like at halftime you walk in and all the O-line goes in the shower. That's where they fucking talk. And back in the day, like everyone would be cranking a cig, kind of bringing it down.
Yes.
Once free agency changed and with like Reggie White and everyone started making money.
Yeah.
That side of the game started to get washed out, which is unfortunate. It's, there's nothing like that, man. Like going through shit like that with people and cracking a beer afterwards. And
so in
I would have to imagine.
No, in 2000, I was like 2011. I joined a rugby tour. Like University of South Florida was going over to play France, two teams in France and 2 teams in Wales. And our coach was sponsoring them, and he used to coach over there, whatever. But they needed a couple built bigger. I used to be about like 20 pounds bigger when I played rugby, but they had a couple bigger guys that they wanted, adult men that they wanted to go along to play the positions that take the most pounding. We'll say that. So they get me and Eric Saunders and Caesar and a couple other guys you guys might know. And we join the team and we go over there and we play the teams in France. It's literally like patting each other. I mean, France was just France. It wasn't battle. But we get to fucking Wales, and we went to this town called Porth, and it's a coal miner town. And they literally whacked the top off of a hill from coal mining off of it. And they turned that into a rugby pitch. And we played them at 7:30 at night in March, which is pitch black. And it had been raining for about 5 days. So the whole pitch had grass on it, but it was completely leveled with mud and moisture. And we roll up in our bus, and the small town of Porth has a men's team that had just got done traveling all of Scotland and playing all these big men's teams. And then this small university American team that, we're not very good at rugby over here when it comes to like playing it since we're youth and all that.
Right.
We get on the pitch and we play these guys hard for about a half. We're down a couple scores. It goes into the second half and they just blow us away. But it doesn't matter, because after the match was done, they drug our asses into their locker room. They let us all shower, get warm showers. And then as soon as we came out, they were literally, their whole town was there, and they were clapping us out of the locker room into the bar. And then I'm talking like families and kids are all in there.
Yeah.
They're clapping us into the bar. They bring us in there and they line us up and they give us all a beer, and it's just a waterfall, like immediately. Like you come out, you're showered, and it's just, here's your beer, waterfall. 32 guys just chug, 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 chug all the way down. And then some people can't do it and they get made fun of. And a couple guys grab ones from other people and do 2 of them. And, it's like, and then it just goes into like song singing. But I think that's where like the NFL used to be in its like youth, back when it was like, more of a men's sport rather than an entertainment business now. But I got to experience what you're talking about. Like in 2000.
Yeah, money got involved, man.
Yeah.
So that's a good segue, Zach. And it's getting late, so I kind of want to wrap it up. But for Will, best off-field memory and best on-field memory.
Ooh.
I got one follow-up.
Best on-field? Well, whatever. I'll try to
do it whatever order you want, bro.
So when I was finishing up my time in Seattle and I was becoming a free agent, it was 2008, and Detroit literally went 0-16. Tyler, you remember that shit?
Mm-hmm.
And it was 08, so financially speaking, we were where we were, and Detroit was taking a shitstorm, and it was probably the least desirable city to live in besides Cleveland in the continental U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's up, Lachlan?
What's up, dog?
Hey, buddy. And I remember going to the free agency, and I'm like, my agent's like, where do you want to go? Where do you want to play? And I'm like, well, anywhere but Detroit. And the first day of free agency, that's who calls, Detroit. He's like, he's like, what do you think? And we looked at it, we're like, fuck it, let's go. And so I went to Detroit, and the place was in the shits, like, whatever. And so we won 2 games that first year. We weren't real good. And it was a unique experience, like staying in shitty hotels. No one's at the games, pretty rough. And the next season we won 6 games, and we won our last 4. And we had this momentum building, nice. And the city was starting to get some life. And next season we won our first 4 preseason games, and then we won our first 4 regular season games.
Wow.
So it's also, the momentum was shifting. And our 5th game that season was a Monday night game against Chicago. And it was the first Monday night game in Detroit since like the mid-90s with Barry. Oh, dude. And you got to kind of earn your Monday nights. Like, if they get a Monday night game, they see, like your entertainment value. So whatever, we were getting some momentum. And the Tigers were playing somebody in the ALCS that same Monday. And the entire city of Detroit, like, shut down. It was like Gasparilla down here. Like, no one went to work. But, dude, like, it was lit. And we're warming up, and they're showing the Tigers on the big screen, and the place is going ape shit before we're even, like, in our uniforms, And we played the Bears that night, and we beat the fucking brakes off them. And when you start winning, the cool thing about NFL is when you start winning and, like, your team's getting focused, celebrities start kind of showing up. And so Kid Rock was becoming like a regular. And when we won that night and we went back in the locker room, man, and like Kid Rock was in there, and he brought like Run DMC and Eminem was in there. And they're like standing on tables in the middle of the locker room, dancing and like singing their own songs. Jesus.
That's sick.
And
that's awesome.
It was awesome, man. It was like a championship night, like you don't always win championships, but I heard LT say it recently. It's like, sometimes, because he's like a Hall of Fame guy, never won a Super Bowl. He's like, man, someone told him sometimes you don't win, but you have championship days. And that was one of them. But one of the funniest parts of the story is we're in there just like getting wild, whatever. And finally Schwartz walks in, and he's like, all right, everybody up, let's get out of here. And he's like, Kid Rock, break down the team, It's like Schwartz says his bit, and he's like, Kid, break the team down. And Kid Rock jumps in there in the middle of the huddle. He has like a whiskey drink and a plastic cup and a cigar. And he's like, yo, break it down, what's up? He's like, y'all did good tonight, man. Y'all did good. But look at this. On 3rd downs, when y'all are playing cover 2, we need more pressure out of our corners. Like, we got to get something on those receivers because they're coming inside. We're all sitting here with our fucking hand in, like, looking at each other like,
that's amazing.
Like, get the fuck out of here, Kid Rock.
You're expecting him to just get in the middle and go, ball with the ball to make it, man.
Oh, dude. That was the scene leading up to that. But, man, that was, like, one of those moments, man, because that was 3 years in the making, and we've all been there in life where you come to these crossroads and you're like, fuck it. And that city had come a long way, and we had been a part of it, so it was cool.
It's amazing too how much cities put their identities into their sports teams too, right? Like,
I grew up.
There's so much identity there.
Yeah, man. I grew up in Atlanta, which is kind of a hodgepodge, and like, there's not great support for professional teams. But man, you go to some cities, and it's people. I mean, people care. You can. People going through a lot of shit. There's like one place where they can escape, I guess, and so it's cool to be a part of that and bring some happiness.
So that locker room experience, would you label that on field or off field?
That's what I was gonna say. I don't know. I guess
both.
Both, yeah.
My best off-field memory? Shit, it probably involves JoJo in some costume.
You got time for one good locker room story besides Kids Rock? That's awesome. But I'm like, we all played sports as kids, and you did shenanigans in the locker room. And I was always curious, is that, you hear stories about, in baseball especially, people lighting people's cleats on fire. Like, what happens in NFL locker rooms? Like, how crazy do you guys get?
Yeah, honestly, man, I don't have a lot on that because every team I played for, the head coach made a point at the beginning of the season that there's like no hazing or BS. I mean, I don't know if that's where you're going with that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was weird. Every team I played for, they're like, we're not, Schwartz was like, this is a $1 billion business, not a frat house.
We had more hazing in the 63rd than they had in the locker room, probably.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that's why the squadron's a skeleton of what it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, every good thing has to end.
Yep.
Last question, Will. Anybody ever mistake you for Greg Olson?
No, but I used Greg Olson to get in a bunch of bars one night in Chicago.
Nice.
I claimed to be him, and it worked.
Hey, Will, did you know he started a podcast called Tight End One?
No.
Yeah, he started a podcast. It's supposed to come out like any day now. I just heard him get interviewed today by Colin Cowherd. And
That's cool.
He's going around and interviewing all these tight ends. Maybe you can get some cred on there.
Yeah. I wish I knew him.
We'll probably have more than 12.
He seems like a good dude.
Well, what he was saying today is he interviewed Tony Gonzalez, and he was giving him a hard time because Tony Gonzalez basically screwed all of their tight ends monetarily because he was so good at the position for so long that nobody coming out of college could reset the market. Like, how like nowadays Kittle's probably going to be the first one to break the bank on it, but like nobody was coming out of college and resetting what Tony Gonzalez was doing. And Tony Gonzalez was just re-upping for a little more every year to try to not screw his team over.
Right.
Cap wise. But
yeah.
He said that was probably the most interesting thing he did on his podcast is he was just like totally giving Tony Gonzalez hell because he basically kept tight end paychecks in line for like 12 years or something.
Yeah, I would know about that, those big money issues. Yeah, I'll be like, Greg, what's up, man? It's Will Heller. I want to get on your podcast. He'll be like, who the fuck are you?
If you're tight end 1, I'm tight end 12. So when you get to tight end 12.
I told Katie, I feel proud. I feel like I'm the worst player to ever play 10 years in the NFL.
No way.
And she's like, don't beat yourself up. I'm like, no, I mean, I'm still proud of that, but like legitimately, I have to be the worst player to ever play 10 years.
What's the percentage? The average is what, like 4 years?
Yeah, I think just under.
Less than 4 now.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate it. Will, thanks for coming on, man. I had fun. I can't wait to drink with you guys in real life again.
I know. You need to figure out what to do with that toilet paper. I can't take my eyes off it.
Too bad Joe didn't live in a high rise. We could TP him. There's probably only one person on this podcast that has a house that we could target.
What? Well, maybe someday Matt Smith will actually throw a poker party that we can be seeing at together.
Fuck Matt Smith.
Nice.
All right, boys.
I love you, Matt. All right, man. Thanks. This was fun.
Yeah, man. It was a good time. Appreciate it.
Take it easy.
All right, guys. We'll see you.